The Auburn Tigers get a massive win over the Michigan Wolverines to advance to the Elite Eight. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Auburn family up tempo gang. Good morning, y'all. Good morning, Dustin Smith and Blake Lane. Y'all already know what we're here to talk about today. Blake, what were you doing there, bud?
Too small. Trey Donaldson had 5 points at that moment. Didn't score another point the rest of the night. It was magical to see. I know there was no bad blood between Trey and Auburn, but at that point, you kind of made it a little,
a little personal.
Yeah. You kind of said, hey, I know you're the point guard now. You're coming off the bench. I was in that role last year, the previous 2 years, and I'm showing you that you're too small. And Tahaad said, okay, I got you. Watch this. All right. This is why you're at Michigan now. Okay. It was fun to watch. I know we'll talk more about Tahaad here in a minute.
Yeah, man. What a night. What a night for Auburn Tigers. Historic victory. We'll talk a little bit at the end about facing Tom Izzo and Michigan State in the Elite Eight tomorrow. But, man, Blake, as we got right here on the screen, we trailed 48-39 with 12:26 left in the game. And me and you started texting back and forth, and it just felt like one of them games where it just wasn't our night. Like nothing could go right. We just couldn't grab the basketball. Cheney cut into the hole, not able to corral it a couple times. Just little plays. We would get like a good defensive possession. It would hit somebody's knee and go out of bounds. The fast break where we kick it to Miles Kelly. He can't get it. It goes out of bounds. We just all of a sudden have these more turnovers than we've had all season in a moment where you're like, man, you can't afford to do this. And then Bruce calls the timeout, just kind of takes a step back. And that's something you can do when you have a veteran-led team like this.
Yep.
And just let the boys hatch it out. Just let them talk it out, figure it out. And I think that one thing that I was texting you early in the game was I said, man, we're playing really sloppy, but I'm glad the energy's there.
Mm-hmm.
Like it wasn't like the Alabama State game or sometimes this year where we felt like, man, what is Auburn doing? Where's the juice? It felt like we had too much juice.
Yep.
We came out the gates just a little too hot, too ready to go. Long on a lot of three-point shots, taking too many three-point shots early. And that was probably the game plan when you look at Michigan and their two, they have the 2 7-footers, the Twin Towers or whatever in the world they call them. And Auburn, man, just kind of found their game as it went on. And like I said, Bruce calls that timeout. And, kudos to Bruce for calling a timeout because sometimes Bruce will just let it run, keep going. I'm like, Bruce, what are we doing, buddy? We can't take these home. He knew last night was the time to call it. And, those guys got it right, man. And I'm going to read off some of these stats, Blake, before we really get into the discussion. Looking at the team stats, Auburn shoots 28 for 71, only 39.4%. 8 of 28, 28.6 from deep. That got better as the game went on. This is the one that I'm okay with this now. 14 for 18 from the free throw line, 77.8%. Let's start here, dude, because I think this is the story of the game. If you'd have told me this before the game, I'd have said Auburn's going to be in good position to win. Total rebounds, Auburn 48.
Yep.
To Michigan's 33. Domination, brother. We dominated them boys on the glass last night.
Yeah, and I think Auburn was +9 on the offensive glass.
Yeah.
Which was absolutely massive. Janai was working the tip ends. Dude, I can't tell you how many times I heard that Auburn was going to get just absolutely demolished on the glass. In a week's time, every talking head in the game was saying that Auburn had no chance on the glass. On the preview show the other night, I told y'all, I said, you're probably going to lose the rebounding battle, but just be competitive. Just keep it close. And boy, Auburn comes out. Dylan Cardwell, let me tell you something. A guy that's not going to fill it up on the stat sheet, but that might have been his best game as an Auburn Tiger.
These last two he's been unreal.
Incredible. Last night might have been his best. I was so impressed with Dylan Cardwell. On that glass, man, he was flying high, getting rebounds, blocking shots, making life difficult on the 7-footers. I mean, what an absolute stud, man. For that guy, you know, he said in a little media snippet, he said that I don't want this to be it. I want to continue playing. I want to get to San Antonio. And after all the hard work that he's put in, how much this fan base loves him, it was a joy to watch him just get physical, man, and get down and get dirty on the glass and just demolish Michigan. I mean, the big 7-footer and Danny Wolf, what was his name? Golden. They didn't have an answer for what Auburn was doing on the glass. Miles Kelly walked out of there with 6 boards last night. That's a 2-guard flying in and grabbing rebounds last night. Look, I know Miles Kelly. Well, he was one of 9 from the field, I believe. 1 of 7 from 3. Can't dribble a basketball to save his life. But he flew in multiple times, man, and got big time rebounds. And I was really impressed with that because Miles Kelly is a 6'6" 2-guard. That is something that Auburn has not had. We have lacked throughout the years, man, of having guards be able to go get rebounds. Denver Jones with 4 boards last night. You have guards that can get in the paint and be physical and grab rebounds. That's big time, man. Janai Broom. Look, you can keep trashing him on Twitter all you want to. Keep getting on that Cheese app and keep saying, oh, 4 don't show up. 4 don't show up. Because it's BS, dog. It is absolute BS. There hasn't been a time where he hasn't shown up for Auburn. And I'm honestly tired of hearing about it. I keep seeing people say, oh, well, he's been terrible the past 2 to 3 weeks. He's not going to put up 40 a game, y'all. I mean, what do you expect? Janai puts in 15 and 12, and people are like, man, freaking Janai, man. He's losing the National Player of the Year battle to Cooper with these performances. He had 22 points last night and 16 boards. Where did he not show up? 4 did it, man. He showed up because guess what? Every talking head out there said, man, Janai's going to struggle with these 2 7-footers. He's going to absolutely struggle. I just don't know how he gets to that left hand. I don't know how he rebounds against Wolf and Golden. I don't know how he finds his shot against Michigan. He's going to have to step away from the basket. Janai said, watch this. I'm going right at you. And I tell you what, even though it was an offensive foul, Dustin, I think he set the tone early when he ran through old boy. He said, hey, I'm coming to play, dog. I'm bringing the physicality. These dudes killed it on the glass last night, man. That is one of the best performances that I've seen from Auburn rebounding in the last 2 to 3 years. In the last, since Walker and that 22 team, man, like, for how this team was criticized the last week of the season, the past 2 to 3 weeks, about not being physical on the glass and not hustling, even the Alabama State game, and you get that performance, and now you got Michigan State who's undersized, and you're about to have Janai go up against a 6'9" cat, and Dylan go up against a 6'10", 6'9" cat, Chaney Johnson. Man, I like our chances, Dustin. I like our chances, man. Hey, and one more thing about Chaney. Get it together, dog. Catch the damn basketball.
Yeah.
Yes, catch it.
I heard I was listening to the post game, and I'll look more into this today. Listen to the post game presser One of the reporters asked our players if there was a problem with the basketball, like the texture of the basketball, because it seemed like Michigan and Auburn were both having a tough time holding on to it. You can even think back to when Pettiford made that big three where Janai ran the wrong way. The ball kind of slipped out of his hand. There's just a lot of times where the ball was kind of slipping. And I can't remember, and maybe it was either Tahaad or Denver answered the question in the press, in the post-game presser, and he said, we can't make excuses. You know, both teams are playing with the same basketball, you know. So he didn't want to really like touch on it, but it did seem like that kind of made me think, oh, that would make some sense because both teams were like struggling at times to grab it. It did seem like it was a slippery ball. I don't know. I wasn't out there. It was just something I picked up on in the post game. And a reporter that was sitting courtside asked him that. So maybe he noticed something. Maybe he heard discussions going on, you know, with the players and the refs saying, hey, can we get a new ball? I don't, you know, whatever. But yeah, you still got to catch the ball. And then they alluded to that in the post game. The players said, we're not making excuses. We can't turn the basketball over that much. A 20-2 run, 20-2 run when you had to have it, you know. And I think back to when we talked about before the tournament started, what are we so confident in? Like, what is the one thing we know Auburn's going to hang his hat on? And I just said defense. Like, I know when Auburn has to get stops, I think they'll do it. And you saw that Auburn had that energy out the gate. It was helter-skelter. We were kind of all over the place. We were definitely, like I said, too fired up. But that's why you have a veteran team like that. And so a point that you've made for 3 years, Blake, it's March. It's March. And all of a sudden, the big guards won. All of a sudden, Denver Jones, you mentioned, makes big shots. He has over a 20-point night. You mentioned Miles Kelly coming in with 6 rebounds. Man, Miles Kelly could obviously shooting is what he brings, right? Like that's his main thing. What's Miles Kelly's number one attribute? Shooting the 3 ball. A lot of guys, if they don't have that, if that's your thing, if that's your gig, if you don't have it, well then they disappear. No, he said no, and he's done this all year. There have been nights where Miles has struggled, and you look and you're like, well, he did have 5, 6 boards, and those add up, man, and they're critical. And I thought he defended the perimeter very well in the second half, also.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say is his defensive effort is unmatched. And guys, when I always say this, I mean it, and it's not a knock to former guards at Auburn. And you know, you love the Jared Harpers. You know, you love what Zep Jasper transferred in and gave you. You love what Wendell Green gave you, right? Those guys are guys that will look back in 20 years and say, man, they were so great for the program. They brought a lot of success. They won a lot of games for us. And Harper took us to a Final Four, man. Like he was electric. But at the end of the day, big guards in March win. Guards that can get it done on both ends, like Denver Jones. And last night, when you found yourself down and you found yourself not playing your best game, not having your best performance, turning the ball over at a high clip, you almost had 20 of them things. It just seemed like, you know, like we texted, Dustin, we said, it doesn't feel like our night, man. And I can say this, in the tournament, you're going to have a game where it doesn't feel like it's going your way. You're going to have a game where you play terribly and you have to somehow find a way to win that game. And Denver Jones said, hey, not so fast. I got us. And Deuce stepped up. He hit big shot after big shot for us. And that's what seniors do. He saved the season. I know Tahaad's going to get all the glory and all the praise. And what he did was magnificent, man. It was electric, incredible stuff to watch. The way he got into the flow and the rhythm, and he just couldn't be stopped. But Denver Jones is the one who sparked it. And he's done it all year long. He has done it all year long. And guards win in March. That's just how it goes, man. You look at every team in the Elite Eight, what are they all known for? Tennessee, Zakai Ziegler. Auburn, Tahaad Pettiford, Denver Jones, Miles Kelly. Alabama, got Mark Sears. Duke, look at Proctor. He's playing elite basketball. Knipple, 2 guards, shooting it, playing well. All these cats have elite guards, man. Michigan State, we got a problem on our hands. Look, they're undersized, but Jace Richardson is a problem. That dude is a freshman, and he can flat out play. His dad was pretty good, too. So it's going to be fun, man. The Elite Eight, and I said the other night, can we go from sweet to elite? And Denver Jones did it, man. He saved our season. I can't say enough about too, man. And look, wonderful family, supportive family. They love Auburn. The kid, he's always got a smile on his face. You know, you found yourself treading water, and the sharks were lurking. There was blood in the water, and we were in a dangerous territory. And Denver said, "Hey, I got us." I think 2 is that dude, man. He's that guy, Dustin.
Yeah, I mean, we know that he's one of the best, if not the best, on-ball guard in the country. When he gives you 20 points, it's just he becomes one of the best all-around guards in the country. And looking at it, man, Trey Donaldson plays 30 minutes. He gets 5 points, the point guard for Michigan. Guard Reuben Jones from Michigan plays 28 minutes. He gets 6 points. Burnett, he had a nice night, I feel like. He had 10 points, 7 rebounds in 26 minutes. Okay, now let's go over here to Auburn's guards. I got 40 combined just from Tahaad and Denver.
Yep.
You know, and Tahaad, man, let's talk about Tahaad real quick. Listen, like you said, it's no knock on anybody that's played at Auburn before. Plenty of good players have come through. There's levels. There's levels to this stuff, dude. And Tahaad is just on a different level. And because Bruce Pearl put together the schedule that he put together before SEC play even started, we had already seen example after example that Tahaad Pettiford is the guy that steps up in the big moments. And everybody who's watched this for a long time, you know, I don't say this lightly. It's the first time I've ever said it about an Auburn basketball player. He's got that mama mentality, man. Like when it's needed, that step back mid range, bro, with the and one was so filthy. God, dude, he's so clutch. And you think back to last year when you had a freshman guard who you couldn't even play in the tournament. You had a freshman guard that you couldn't even play in the tournament. And I was worried after Tahaad went 0 for 8 in the Tennessee game in the SEC tournament, just if 30 games of physical basketball was wearing on the freshman. And if he was getting tired and wearing down. And Tahaad said, absolutely not. I'm just getting started. And he's been massive. He's been massive this entire tournament. And it's, Blake, if we get into a Michigan State Final Four, you know, national championship, and we get into a situation where we gotta have a big bucket tie game, we gotta have a clutch one. If there's a mismatch inside, and you're down by 1 or 2, then you can look at Janai, obviously. But man, if you gotta take an outside shot, and hell, even if you want him to get to the basket, because he's been getting to the basket all tournament. I think Tahaad's the guy, ain't he? I think Tahaad's the guy that takes the shot. Oh, the stop and go last night?
Oh, the hezzy was unreal. He put Golden in a blender, bro. I mean, he went to step out because he thought Tahaad was about to shoot, and Tahaad said, "Oh, let me give you this real quick." And then the blow by was sick as well. Like, I can't say enough about what we watched. I think Bruce Pearl needs to buy a vacation home in Jersey City and get every point guard that comes out of there because that kid is special. And I hate to say this, but Tahaad's going to the NBA, man.
You think this is it?
with the way he's playing right now, I hope and pray that it's not. But after these performances, and if he continues to keep showing out, man, I just, in front of the whole country like this, and doing the things that he's doing, I just don't know how he doesn't get a first round grade and go to the NBA draft. And I know he's undersized and everything, but the way he's shooting the rock, his ball handling, the hezzy, he can create his own shot, all that stuff, man. He's just got the perfect package, and it's been special to watch. I do not want him to go to the NBA. I want him to return to Auburn, but it's just, it's incredible what we watched. I can't even put it into words. It's
I would hope.
literally, what is it?
I was just saying I would hope, like, NBA wise. I feel like even if he continues to play this way and Auburn goes on a big run, which we kind of already have at this point, we got 3 more to go. Let's say he continues this for a couple more games. And I haven't watched the NBA in years, so I could be off on this, but I feel like he's like still a late first rounder because of the defensive body of work. He struggled on the defensive end for a large portion of the season. He's definitely got better as the tournament goes on. Like Bruce has talked about, using his quickness and just his effort. I feel like he would get drafted for sure, first round for sure at this point, but it would be later. If he comes back another year, I think he can work himself into like that top 10 range. That would be the selling point if I was Auburn, and then give him a nice little NIL package the way you did Janai.
For sure.
Come on back.
For sure. Yeah, that's what I said the other night, is come back, get another year of development. Because I've made the point multiple times of some of these kids do this one and done, and they're not ready for the NBA. The NBA is a very, very different game than college basketball. College basketball is a team game. You run sets and all that good stuff. The NBA gets into a lot of ISO, one-on-one, my best player against your best player. Let's see who can win. That's what the NBA is. And some players are better for the NBA. Like, what was his name? J.D. Davison from Alabama. He was not a great college basketball player because his game did not fit college basketball. It fit the NBA better. So look at him in the G League, man. He can't help that he's with Boston and there's, just multitude of dudes in front of him, and he just can't get on the roster. So he's down in the G League scoring 50 a night. His game it's set up more for the NBA. And I think Tahaad is one of those guys that, he would have success offensively in the NBA because he can create space and get to those spots on the floor, and he's got the shot. You have to be able to shoot to play in the NBA. If you can't shoot, Ben Simmons, guess what? You're not going to make it. I don't care how good you are on defense. I don't care how good of a ball handler or a facilitator you are. If you cannot shoot, your days of playing in the NBA are short. Why do you think there's centers in the NBA now, like the Joker, who can step out at 35 feet and drain? Because you got to be able to shoot. This ain't the 70s, 80s, and 90s anymore, where they dump it down to the post and they play that way. It's just not. It's a different game.
That's all they do, actually. It's actually killing the game.
It's the three ball is what they do now, and that's why you got to be able to shoot to stay in the league. I thought Keith, and you talked about it a little bit earlier, jumping back to Auburn, and I'm pretty sure it was Keith. It was late at night last night when he tagged us on Twitter. But he was talking about the timeout that BP called, and I know you touched on it. And I know there was some soul searching in that timeout, but I also want to go back to the half. And when Auburn was supposed to come out of the locker room, Tahaad come out, Chaney followed, and it was a minute before anyone else come back out. There was some soul searching going on inside those walls at State Farm Arena. There were some conversations being had that said, hey, We got to play better, man. We're being too careless with the basketball. We're turning it over at a high rate. We just got to slow down and be patient. Let the game come to us. And there was things I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall. Like I said, against Alabama State, I would have loved to have been in that locker room and just hear some of the things that were being said. Because I can tell you, Auburn played maybe their worst half of basketball, including Alabama State, against Michigan last night. It was horrible. Even Chuck said it on the halftime show. The biggest thing in basketball is the basketball. You got to protect it. And if you keep turning it over, you're going to find yourself in these situations. And what'd you do in the second half? You come out early and you were still doing the same thing, but then you slowly went back to the Auburn we know. And you stopped turning it over, and what'd you do? You went on a run, and you started burying shots. It's crazy how it works, ain't it, Dustin?
Yeah. Listen, it's just all the social media jokes about how old the Auburn team is. I'm trying to win a championship. So you keep making your jokes. We're trying to win a championship, man. Team full of freshmen, that ain't going to get it done. So you see this veteran team just get together. And, again, this is why Bruce scheduled the non-con the way he scheduled it. I don't think Bruce expected the SEC to quite be this way. We knew it wasn't proven. We knew it was going to be the best it's ever been. Didn't think 14 of 16 teams was going to make the tournament. Now half of the damn Elite Eight is the SEC. But when you look across like the Sweet 16, and Auburn was, I think, was 9-4 against teams that were like we played everybody.
Yeah.
So you've been tested time and time again. You've been in these moments. You think back to last year, an Auburn team that won over 20 games, 24, 25 in the regular season, right? But every win was a blowout. And you never had to be tested. You never had these moments. And anytime you were down, you didn't pull it out. Well, this team, time and time again, all season long, against top competitions, the Iowa States, Houston's, all throughout the season, even before the SEC play started, this team had already figured out how to come out of that moment. We've seen for probably the last 3 or 4 years, really, since Harper and Bryce Brown left, I would say. And Samir Dowdy could get some buckets for us when he had to. But since those guys left, Auburn struggled to get clutch buckets.
Yep.
Because you've had 5'10" guards, and it's hard for a 5'10" guard to go get a clutch bucket, man. That just is what it is. And I love Jabari and I love Walker, but that's a center and a forward right there. It's a center and a forward. And so you just got to have these big guards that can get their own shot, create their own shot. And if you're going to have a guy that's a little undersized like Tahaad, well, Tahaad's undersized at 6'1". That's still different than being undersized at 5'9", 5'10". And his quickness is elite. So he's able to kind of use his footwork, use his quickness to create angles that a lot of other smaller guards are not. Like Wendell Green wasn't slow, but if him and Tahaad raced a 40-yard dash, Tahaad would smoke him. If they did shuttle run, Tahaad would smoke him. He has elite speed, and that kind of makes up for his lack of size, and he has the ability to just create shots from all different angles. And I'm going to scream it from the mountaintops, dude. When he gets to the basket, when Denver Jones gets to the basket, it opens up everything else for them offensively.
Let's talk about that. Early in the game, way early, the confidence to pull what Denver Jones pulled.
Oh, the behind the back.
Behind the back, little finger roll. I said, oh, man, what a play. Denver's a dog, man. Denver's a dog. But the thing with Tahaad, you talk about the quickness, just go back and look at the Creighton game when they decided to start trapping Tahaad. He said, you're going to trap me? Watch this. I'm going to split the double team, and then I'm going to make you pay. I'm going to stop, hit the mid-range, or if you step out on me, I'm going to give you the little hezzy and blow by you.
Yeah, Hezzy was my favorite. That was crazy.
It's just you can't do that to him. Now Wendell Green, you saw moments when he was the point guard. They would throw different things at him, trap him, and it's just I'm not saying he was a bad player, because he certainly wasn't. There was just things that he couldn't do that Tahaad can, and that's why I think Tahaad's game plays in the NBA. Is because he can create his own shot. He can do multiple things that some of these other guys couldn't. I said back in November, man, if we want to win a national championship, it's going to come down to Tahaad Pettiford. You look at every national champion, they have great guard play, but they also have a guy that can be the sixth man, and he can come off the bench and give you buckets, and that is what you need. Big shout out to Tahaad for also being a 5-star freshman coming in and never once opening his mouth about playing time.
Great point.
In the era that we live in, where kids want to harp on playing time and gripe and complain and enter the transfer portal, you saw 700 kids day one enter the transfer portal. He never complained. He said, "Hey, this is Denver Jones's team. I'm not gonna open my mouth." Miles Kelly at the 2. He is a veteran senior 2 guard, and I realize that there's guys in front of me that have played way more college basketball than me, and he has waited his turn to shine and be the guy. And shout out to him, man. What an effort last night this was. What a win. And I think that was your game of, you're going to have one game, y'all. You're going to have one game where you don't play well in the tournament. Remember, you got to win 6 of these bad boys. So the chances of you playing 6 perfect games are slim to none.
Yeah.
All right? The chances of you playing 6 perfect games are slim to none. You're going to have a game in any style tournament you play in where you play like dog water. And you got to somehow find a way to win that game. And Auburn did it. Shout out to the boys, man.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, man. It was a lot of fun. I had I turned the game off. I was like, it's about 1 o'clock in the morning. How am I supposed to go to bed? How am I supposed to go to bed after that, man? Fired up. I want to get over here to some of the comments and see what you guys are talking about. But we have talked so much about the guards tonight, and because we've talked all year about Janai Broom being the National Player of the Year, we might be entering this territory of where he's so good that we kind of overlook it.
Yeah.
22-16, man. 22-16. And he sits down at the podium and he looks at his offensive shooting numbers and he says, "Man, I didn't play well. He's mad he missed 11 shots. I would say, Janai, you wouldn't have missed 11 shots if you didn't take some of the threes that you took and you got a little closer to that basket. But again, I listened to a lot of different podcasts and shows this week talking about how Janai Broom might struggle. He might struggle with the size of Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't struggle at all. And, he missed some easy ones, but on a lot of those misses down low, he was right back there in position to get the rebound and put it in. So just a big shout out to him, man, for carrying this team the way he has all year. And in a night where he feels like he didn't play well and he misses 11 shots, he still gives you 16 rebounds and 22 points. And that's how you know you're good, when you go for 22-16 and everybody's like, yeah, well, we kind of expect that from you. Get into some of these comments, man. Cam says, "I know the guards did their thing and Broom, but let's not sleep on Miles Kelly rebounding, CJ defense on Wolf when Broom got in foul trouble, and the defense on Golden." Yeah, Dylan Caldwell's defense on Golden. Yeah, Dylan Caldwell's defense was incredible. I think his defense we talk about this a lot on the football side. When a guy like Peyton Thorne says something, it doesn't really hit because then he plays like crap. So it's like, yeah, sure, you're a leader in the locker room, but at some point you have to play well. Dylan was the most vocal. I mean, calling guys out by name after the Alabama State game. And he said, we won't beat Creighton if we do that again. And then he stepped up and has played the best that he's played in his long career at Auburn these last 2 games. So if you're going to be vocal about it and then go out and do it, well, that's the way to lead. And so Dylan, like, to him to do that, I think he's just been playing incredible basketball. And I thought that Janai Broom, when he got the 4 fouls, I thought he was brilliant. I know he fouled out at the very end of the game, but I thought he was brilliant in the way he played those last couple of minutes and staying out of foul trouble and staying out there and still being able to impact the game defensively without fouling, which Auburn did a very good job of in the last 10 minutes, which has kind of been a problem for this team this year, and then rebounding. I just thought that Janai, with those 4 fouls, the way he closed the game out in the paint was tremendous. And then obviously Dylan. Like, Dylan could be the player of the tournament in a lot of ways so far for us.
Bro, he's just not going to fill up the offensive stat sheet, and that's fine. I do not care about Dylan Cardwell on the offensive end. And, you know, I was having this discussion last night with one of my buddies. He said that he was having a conversation with his father-in-law, I think, or somebody like that. And he said, he was telling me that, you know, he was a huge Alabama fan, and my buddy brought up Cardwell, and he was like, why do y'all like Cardwell so much? He was like, he's not even good. And I was like, he's not good offensively, and that's fine. I'm okay with that. And what I mean by not good offensively is I'm not even saying that. He's just not going to fill it up on the stat sheet. He's not going to drop 30 in a game, right? But what he's going to do is all the dirty work. He's going to play really well on defense. He's going to block shots. And last night it started really early when he was physical on the offensive glass. He goes up, he gets fouled, and he goes to the free throw line, and he makes 1 out of 2. To me, that started everything for Dylan last night. All I need for Dylan Cardwell is to make 1 out of 2. I don't need you to give us 15 to 20 points.
Yeah.
Just go to the line and make a free throw, man. If you can give me a putback dunk, if you can give me some offensive boards, that's all I need out of you. And you've done that. You've showed up time and time and time again. He is Auburn, 100%. I agree. Dylan Cardwell is everything to Auburn. He's the hype man. He's the guy on campus that everybody loves. He's Mr. Popular. He's Mr. Social Media. He's the guy that could run any social media account and have TikToks pop off and all this stuff, man. He's just great for Auburn. He can go on any podcast and it get thousands of views. He is everything for this team. And I think he has played perfectly in the tournament. And last night was awesome to watch from him. Like, I know everybody made fun of the Dowda shirts. Auburn made Dowda shirts and all that. Y'all, they were getting doubted. As crazy as it seems, everybody's like, oh, they're the number 1 overall seed. How could they be doubted? What? Right up before the selection show, y'all said that they shouldn't be the number 1 overall seed, that they lost their last 3 out of 4 games, that they had peaked too early, that they weren't the same team that they were in December and January, and it was typical Bruce Pearl to go out early in the tournament. So Auburn made Dowda shirts. And they said after Alabama State, keep doubting us because this isn't the team that you're going to continue to see. And it hasn't been. So, once again, you have the chance to play for a Final Four. Keep doubting us. Keep doubting Auburn. Keep doubting Dylan Cardwell. Keep doubting Janai Broom. Keep saying that he's trash and he doesn't deserve National Player of the Year. And what's crazy, Dustin, is I got asked the other day on TikTok, why do you always bring up National Player of the Year for Auburn? Why do you always go to bat for Janai? Well, one, I go to bat for Janai because he plays for my damn team. All right. Two, I go to bat for him because I think he means the most to his team this year, and he has played well enough to get the award. And the other guy, yes, I get it. He's the Prince Charming. He plays at Duke. All right. The blue blood and all of that. Coach K and all the greatness of that school. And he's the number one overall prospect. I get that. But you take Janai off of the Auburn Tigers, and where are we? Couldn't tell you because I don't think it would be good. But I guarantee you, I know Cooper Flagg's special, but if you take Cooper Flagg off of Duke, they're still pretty damn good. And I'm not saying Auburn's trash without Janai, but he's a big part of this team, man. And I think he deserves the award. And I'm going to go to bat for him each and every time. Just like I went to bat for him last night when everybody kept saying that he was trash and he's been playing off and he looks lazy. Boy, it might not pop on the stat sheet, but Janai Broom's been showing up, and he showed up against Creighton.
Yeah.
So cut some slack on Four, man. Four's been doing the dang thing. Like, we're playing tomorrow. We go for a chance to be in the Final Four. Let that sink in. Doesn't happen often, right? You know how hard it is. You know how hard it is. This journey, it's tough. We got Creighton, and then we got Michigan. I made that point the other night. Is I think the selection committee absolutely botched the tournament seeding. You know, as the number one overall seed, you're supposed to fight throughout the year to have the easiest path to the Final Four, right? That's why you fight for it. Like that's the whole thing is you want the number one overall seed, you want a 1 seed, so you can get the easiest path to the Final Four. And somehow we got Creighton, and then we drew Michigan, the Big Ten champs. The Big Ten champs were a 5 seed, man. Like, yeah. It's been a tough road. I think Florida's had a tough road. You know, I mean, drawing UConn as your round of 32 game. I mean, Jesus, who was on that committee? Yeah, yeah, and then they had the Crab 5, and now they got Texas Tech. You know, I mean, like, I don't know. We could sit down and discuss it. I would love to talk to a couple ADs that are on that committee. You know, but it is what it is, man. The journey's been real, and it's been fun, Dustin.
Yeah, I mean, go back to the that 2019 run. It feels like we slayed every blue blood on the way. That's a fact. And now we're coming up on Michigan State, coached by Tom Izzo. Like, this is big boy stuff, man. It's really historic. But it's been a lot of fun. And I'll say this, as a longtime Auburn fan, it takes a little bit for me to dream because I'm used to being hurt. And, when you're 3 games away, man, you start to dream a little bit. Yep. You start to dream. And I'll never forget after that Virginia game, I turned to my little brother and my dad, and I said, this is going to hurt me more a year from now than it does right now because I just don't think we're ever going to get back to this. And I said that not in a doubt of Bruce Pearl. I know he's great. It's hard.
Yeah,
it's hard to get to this point. And we're right on the doorstep, man. There were 3 games away from getting it done. So, man, it's hard not to think about what that would be like.
No doubt, man. You know, it's not that difficult though when you get to play St. Mary's and
yeah.
BYU. But I'll leave it at that.
How electric of a matchup will that be if it gets to that point? Bruce Pearl is all the data you need. What's up, buddy? Been in here all year supporting the basketball, man. Appreciate you, brother. He says, hot as cold. Trey messed up with that too small gesture. Yep, he did. He did. Sure. Love Trey, man. Trey's the dog. But Tahaad said, I got an answer for you. And quite frankly, I'm just a little bit better than you, and I'm going to show you. 5 Freeze coming through big this week. He did it again. Our guy 5 Freeze gifting 10 memberships. Thank you, Fire Freeze. We appreciate you so much, my guy. He says, War Dan Madness fellow has been a member for
Let's
7
go.
months today. So thank you, buddy. We appreciate everything you do, helping us out, supporting us, sponsoring the podcast here. It's big time, brother. Thank you. Big War Eagle to you. Devin says, guard play wins in March, baby. It does. It really does. And Devin, you've been listening to us from day one. You've heard Blake say it a million times. And you see it playing out. You see Auburn making a deep run now with guards that are big enough to fight through traps, to create their own shot, and then obviously defensively they're able to bother the guards from the other teams. And I mean, so you look again. I mean, everyone that's listened to us last year knows how much I love Trey the player, but like you saw it playing out in the second half of a tournament game.
Yep.
Like his size became an issue for him. He's a dog, former football player, tough, all that kind of stuff. But you saw what happened last year when he played for Auburn. You saw it happen to him again this year from Michigan in the tournament. Like it's just you gotta have big guards that can. It just gives you the ability to do so many things. Thomas says Denver Jones hit some big shots. Yeah, man, Denver. I love seeing a guy that gives that kind of effort and intensity defensively, and I've said it all season. I think he settles for the three too much. He's been getting to the basket this tournament, and I think it's opening up everything for him offensively. His defense, he's turning it into offense. He's just playing the best basketball he's played since he's been at Auburn, I would say, in these last 2 or 3 weeks. And couldn't be a better time. And if you take it back to before the season, and you would have said the season's going to play out where Denver's the main point guard, I wouldn't have signed up for that. That's not what I would have wanted. I wanted him to have been the off ball too, because that's really what he is. And he's found this role. He's gotten comfortable in this role. He's found himself within the offense. And I mean, it's just he's just night and day at that one spot, running our offense, getting set up, even in the half court as to where he was. Because remember last year, Blake, we had to go to it sometimes. Whenever maybe Aiden would get into trouble or wasn't playing well, and when Trey wasn't playing well, and Denver struggled with it. It looked clunky. And for him to be able to come out there and just be efficient with it as down the stretch this year, it's been massive for us. It's been a game changer. And then you have Tahaad coming off the bench and closing the game out for you. It's a lethal combination, man. And then at that point, when Tahaad's playing defense the way he's played defense the last 2 weeks, he's never going to be a defensive stopper. But when he's average or just slightly above average defensively, then you can have him out there with Denver. And then you can depend on Miles or CBM to be that other guy in the 3 spot. You can move them from the 2 to the 3 spot. And then all of a sudden, I'm locking you up on the perimeter. So it's big in a lot of ways, man.
How about the block from Tahaad?
Oh, my God.
That was sick.
He was fired up.
That was sick. That was
He's
dirty,
never done
man.
that before, Blake. He's never done that.
That was awesome, man. I love that. But yeah, man.
And what's up, big dog? He says, War, damn Eagle gang. I see why we are number 1 overall. They're not going to be perfect, Ant. These next 3 games are not going to be perfect. They're going to be dog fights. But Auburn has shown, and I feel comfortable saying they can win any game. I think this next game versus Michigan State, it might be one of them like race to 70 kind of games. I don't know how many points are going to be scored with Bruce Pearl and Tom Izzo, and then these 2 rosters get together. This one might be a slugfest for sure. And but yeah, Auburn has shown us we can win any of them. If it's a race to 90, Auburn can get that done. If it's a race to 65, 70, Auburn can get that done. So, however, these next, we're going to take them one game at a time. But if Auburn plays 3 more games, then yeah, I mean, I like Auburn can win any style, and we're 3 away, buddy. We're 3 away. So we're right there, man. We're right there. Fire Freeze, we have got you more than Eagle again. Thank you, brother, for all your help. Brand new ball. Talking about the basketball itself, the texture of the basketball. Yeah. Anybody that's played basketball knows, like, you don't give me no brand new ball for a game. Give me one that we've shot around with and practiced with them a little bit. The brand new balls can be tough, and I think you saw that last night. Both teams kind of struggling to hold on to the ball a little bit, and they alluded to it, like I said, in the post game. Trey told Tahaad he was too small. Big mistake. Yeah, love the trash talk. I got no problem talking trash out there. First time, I'm surprised Pat Adams didn't run over there and throw Trey out the game for it, oh my God, but he actually let it take place, and then Tahaad just answered. Tahaad said, I'll show you too small, my guy. I'll show you too high. What do you think about this, Blake?
That's a wild thing to. It's a wild thing to say. I know what Jake's saying here, though, is he's not. Everything I've seen is he's not high on draft boards. He's like second round, and they're predicting him to come back to school. But to say that like he's just not on draft boards is, I don't know. I might have to message Jake and like.
I haven't looked. I mean, I haven't looked at any of the draft boards, so I don't.
I've seen one guy say that he was like early second round. Could be taken in the first, but needs to return to school again. But I'm just saying, like, off the flow of this tournament,
right,
and the way he is performing, and NBA scouts are in these arenas and they're watching the way he's performing in the clutch down the stretch, they're gonna salivate over him a little bit, and they're gonna say, "Hey, that guy can play in the NBA." And then he's going to maneuver his way up. There's always look at the NFL draft and the draft boards. There's always that one guy that they're like, oh, he's a middle to late first round pick, and he always slides up to like number 8. And they're just like, man, how did he move from here to there? They're like, well, he impressed down the stretch. He went to the combine. He impressed. He impressed in interviews. He impressed at pro day. That's how he went from being drafted 28th to 8th. So I think there's movement with Tahaad, especially if Auburn goes on to win the national championship. If Auburn goes to San Antonio and they beat Florida and Tahaad has like 18 to 20 points, whatever, and then they say they play Duke in the national championship, because I know everybody wants to see that matchup, and say he has another 20-point heater against Duke because he went off against them the first time in Cameron Indoor, and say Auburn beats Duke by, whatever, and Tahaad was the focal point. He's going. He's getting drafted. So that was kind of my point on it.
Yeah, I feel you. Like I said, I purposefully, like by design, I avoid anything that has anything to do with the NBA. I hope one day that can change. It's actually my favorite sport. I would like to get back to watching the professional version of it, but that product is just, as you would say, dog water, and I just can't. I can't do it. I mean, I hope Jabari's doing well, but I couldn't even tell you what he's doing. Kyle says, we've played 5 of the Elite 8. Now, that is scheduling designed to test you and prepare you for this run. And you're absolutely right, Kyle. And, before the season, when we saw Bruce, I mean, I'm watching Purdue. And I know they ultimately lost. I'm watching Purdue, and I'm like, we made Purdue look like they didn't belong on the court with us.
Yeah.
And they're out here in the tournament proving that they are one of the best, one of the top 16 teams in the country. So, yeah, BP knew what he had, Kyle. BP knew what he had when he set up this schedule, and he wanted this. He wanted those tests for this moment, for last night, and you see it paying off. P-Pass says Bama's AD is on the committee. I don't know if you guys have been watching any baseball this year. I think Bama's AD is also responsible for all replay reviews for Auburn. It's just one of them things, man. And we're going to Birmingham for the review, and it's like, you don't have to waste 3 minutes of my time, brother. Just come back and tell us that you hate Auburn in the call stands. Yeah, it is what it is, dude. P-Pass, you're a longtime Auburn fan. You know what it is, man. Bama's like the Illuminati of college sports. They got their fingers in everything, dude. If you do a little deep diving and a little research, they're like BlackRock. They got a little bit of stuff over here, and they're always pulling the strings. So never be surprised, P-Pass. They're out there doing their thing. Bama going Bama, and college sports are going to allow Bama to Bama. Fire Free says, how is it that we end up with Pat freaking Adams in the Sweet 16? Fire Freeze. I couldn't tell you, man. I really couldn't tell you. When I saw that about 10 minutes before tip-off, I text my dad and my brother in our little group chat a whole lot of words that I cannot say on air. But maybe it benefited Auburn. Maybe Michigan wasn't used to Pat Adams' nonsense, and maybe it paid off for Auburn in the end. I don't know. He was, and all, I don't know. Hopefully that's it. Hopefully that's it forever.
Yeah.
I know better than that, but for the rest of the year at least, I hope to God that's it. I can't do it, Blake. The Sweet 16, we're still seeing this man.
Yeah, it's. I don't think he should be able to officiate an Auburn game.
No.
I don't. It's just, and he calls some of the weakest stuff, man. I'm just like, that's not a foul. You're turning people away from basketball, man, when you call things like that. That's the number one complaint about the NBA right now is flopping and things and no hand checking and the physicality. You're turning people away from the game because you call ticky-tack fouls. It's like, who did he call the one on last night?
Was it Dylan on the rebound? Was either
I think
there was one on a rebound, a defensive rebound situation where I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, and I think he called one on CBM too, maybe where I was like, "Come on, man, like that's cheesy, dog." You know, I just think that's one of the complaints about basketball these days is some of the soft calls, the physicality, man.
Yeah, well, look, we're about to get out of here. We do have one more super chat that I want to get to. But please hit that thumbs up button, man. Y'all sub to the channel if you have not already. We will be back either Sunday, Monday, maybe Sunday night, depending on what time the game gets over, or Monday afternoon, recapping what we definitely hope is a big Michigan State win. Got a double header today for baseball. They have moved up the Sunday game to Saturday because it is going to rain in Athens. So they are trying to get that over with. Tough loss for the boys last night in baseball. We left 12 runners on base in a game that we lost 4-1. That's absolutely ridiculous. But we are playing the number 3 team in the country. And spring practice is underway. So look, I mean, we're pumping out. Last week we did an episode for every sport, right? Busy times on the plains, man. So you guys lock in with us. We're going to keep pumping out all this Auburn sports content for you guys.
You did a member pod, right?
I did.
Okay. I'll put that one out today.
I did. I share my thoughts on the death of the spring games.
Okay,
I don't like it.
I'll put it out today.
Kyle says, do you think it's better for Auburn that Tahaad Pettiford drafts? I'll answer this first, and I'll say no. Normally, I would say yes, but Auburn is losing so much.
Yeah.
Auburn is losing so much at the end of this season that I think that Tahaad Pettiford coming back and having a guy that's at this point has played big tournament games and performed well in big tournament games, coming him back and having him as your starting point guard next year, that would be massive. And I get what you're saying, Kyle, is kind of that, well, if you get a guy drafted, you can sell this in recruiting and all that kind of stuff. I think if Tahaad comes back, then I think he would improve his draft stock a lot. I think if Tahaad comes back next year and has another good year, he could sneak into that lottery and then ultimately that would be better for what you're alluding to for Auburn in the long run on that aspect as well. So I think it's better for Tahaad, better for Auburn. And I'm not just saying that like I wasn't ever saying Jabari Smith needs to come back. No, that's pretty clear.
That was a no-brainer.
It's pretty clear. It's time for you to go, big dog.
Yeah.
But no, I think it would be better for Tahaad and Auburn if he came back for one more year.
Yeah, don't get it twisted now. Like, I'm not saying that I want Tahaad to go. All right.
Right.
Don't get that twisted. What I'm saying is that he's starting to catch fire, and there's been flirtation. There's been talks from some people saying that, hey, Tahaad Pettiford is starting to climb boards. And all I'm saying is you're doing it in front of the entire country now. Mm-hmm. All right. Not just SEC country. You're doing it in front of everybody that's watching these games. And people are going to talk and people are going to maneuver you up NBA draft boards. And I think it's best if Tahaad comes back. I would love to see him with Magwood for 1 year. Just give me 1 year of that. And I think with you losing 10 seniors on your roster and having to fill multiple voids, I think you need Tahaad to come back. And I think the other side of that is maybe Todd looks at like, hey man, this whole damn team's leaving. Maybe I need to get out of here or something. You know, I don't know. I'm just saying, but I think he definitely needs to return.
Yeah, I'm with you. All right, guys. Appreciate y'all being in here. Big dub. Let's go get another one Sunday, man. Y'all tap in with the baseball, the softball, everybody else like that today. Support all the Auburn sports. We'll catch you guys later in the week, man. It's War Damn Eagle. Thank y'all.
War Damn, baby. Sweet to elite.